Hello, I'm in this place here, and I'm going to read something to you that I've written. Somehow, this time, I took 5 pages and I stapled them together. So I will be writing 10 pages, and these 10 pages I will read to you with only one purpose: to let you listen to my sound. Actually, there is no need for me to write anything. I do not need to write, I do not need to write anything to make you listen to the sound that I'm making with my voice. But by first writing about what I'm going to say, I am creating a predetermined effect to counteract what people usually do when they write a speech, when they give a speech. Yes, this is certainly not an ordinary speech, because it is not about what I say, but about how I say what I say. So what I say is only said because it makes you pay attention to how I sound. And since this is an extra long writing, because normally I only staple 3 pages together and then I write 6 pages, but this time I somehow grabbed a bunch of paper and it was 5 pages, so now I'm going to write 10 pages. But since normally I staple these 3 pages together and I fill these 6 pages with words, you are now going to have the opportunity to recognize why I let you listen to my voice. No, I'm not hypnotizing you. I'm not trying to get you to listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, then turn it off and go about your way. Do something else. I am simply speaking these words, which I have written, to be able to bring all my own attention to my sound. You see, if I do that, if I bring all my attention as a speaker to my sound, then you as a listener will begin to do the same. And of course, you can do too what I do. And when we both speak in such a way that we make how we sound the most important thing, then we would be engaging in embodied language. However, at this moment, that is not the case, or that's not yet the case. Maybe it will happen later, that you are going to do that you are going to listen to yourself while you speak, and you're going to hear what it is like to have embodied language, how different that is from your usual way of talking, which is disembodied language in which you do not listen to your sound. So I hope it is going to happen, that you are going to verify what this is to have embodied language and to speak with yourself and to pay attention to how you sound while you speak. But for now, I'm just doing all the talking. That's why I make this video. And I want to make it very clear that I am not talking for you. I'm not talking on your behalf, as you can only speak for yourself. You can only speak on your own behalf. And I cannot have embodied language for you. You can only have embodied language for yourself. And so this is why I let you listen to me, that you hear I'm having embodied language by myself, for myself, on my own behalf. So I speak here and now only on my own behalf, and that is precisely why I can and why I do hear myself. In addition to what I have already said, I want to let you know that you are now listening to someone who speaks on his own behalf. Moreover, this is the only correct way of using language. Yes, you heard me correctly. Speaking on someone else's behalf is, per definition, the incorrect way of using language. And we do this habitually, consistently, mechanically, because we were all conditioned to not listen to ourselves while we speak. And because we have never experienced what it is like to truly speak only on our own behalf and to continue with our embodied language. I am speaking on my own behalf. I continue with my embodied language. I couldn't continue with it if I wasn't speaking on my own behalf. Yeah. So at best, we have experienced a brief instance of authenticity where perhaps we were saying something on our own behalf, but we were unable to maintain it, and it got totally lost again in our common way of talking, in which we just don't listen to ourselves while we speak. As you can hear, such a possibility does not occur right now, because these words, they were written in advance with this special purpose to prevent that from happening. I don't even know why I am at this moment doing this particular thing, you know. I mean, why did I decide to write like this, and why am I reading like this? I really don't know. It's just something that I like to do. I don't even know why I'm doing this today in this particular way, but I have faith in my own inclination to approach you who is listening to this video in this way today. Yeah. You could say, of course, you could say, I have a message to convey, but I insist that is not the case. If there is any message in what I say, it is certainly a very boring and repetitive message. However, that is not the reason why these words were first written so that they could later be spoken. Actually, the whole issue of listening to my sound is merely an excuse for me to speak and to hear myself, as I don't really care about you. Yes, don't feel offended. I don't care about you. I speak on my own behalf. I just like to speak and hear myself, as I don't really care about you, who possibly hears this in the way that I would like you to hear it, but who you're probably never going to have embodied language, let alone having embodied language with me. Yeah, I'm just being realistic here. I'm being realistic. You're probably not going to have embodied language, and you're probably not ever going to have embodied language with me. And I say this on my own behalf, yes. And I'm being realistic. I'm 67 years old, and I've known about embodied language for more than 45 years. And there are absolutely no indications at all that anything is all of a sudden going to rapidly change with regard to our general denial of how we actually deal with our language. If you have heard me previously, you know that we deal with our language very superficially, very stupidly, very irresponsibly. Consequently, the difference between listening to ourselves while we speak and not listening to ourselves while we speak is completely not addressed. It's not an issue. It's never discussed. It's never. It never comes on the table, so to speak. Yeah, it remains. We just wipe it underneath the carpet. Yeah. So there's no reason, there's no indication that anything is going to change anytime soon. Maybe embodied language will just die with me when I get old, so old that I die. Yeah, I don't have eternal life. But so far, yeah, maybe one or two people are going to have embodied language with me, and that's fine. I'm resolved about that. But of course, everybody should be having embodied language, because, as I've said, embodied language is the correct way of using language in which we listen to ourselves while we speak. Yes, disembodied language is giving us nothing but problems, as it has always done, but none of these problems that we're having due to our disembodied language, which has never been addressed, none of that translates into stopping our disembodied language and having embodied language instead. That would only happen if we would begin to speak with ourselves and hear our own sound while we speak and recognize the difference between how we sound when we listen to ourselves and how we sound when we don't listen. You know, something unexpected just happened. Oh, I was writing this and something unexpected happened. As I was telling you before, I was going to let you listen to my sound for the duration of 10 pages, right? I told you that I grabbed 5 pages, but guess what? I didn't staple together 5 pages. I stapled together 6 pages. So you will be listening to 12 pages of my sound. Isn't that nice? You just got 2 extra pages. And I feel very good about that, because I like to keep writing and speaking 1,000 pages. You know what I'm saying? I hope you do. As that would make listening to me as pleasurable for you as it is for me. Whoops. I suddenly hear somebody coming. Okay. So, yeah, I hope it will please you to listen to me in the same way as it pleases me to listen to myself. I have the impression that a lot more will be said once we have embodied language. Yeah, not only by ourselves, but of course also with each other. And we will be saying a lot more than we currently do with our disembodied language. And I know that many people will, of course, immediately say, yeah, we talk a lot in disembodied language. But once you have embodied language, you realize how little we actually say in our disembodied language. It is amazing how everyone is so incapable actually of saying more in disembodied language because they're so cut off, they're so fearful, so defensive, so resentful, so distracted, so stuck and so lost. Yeah, I am none of these things. Hello. Wow, it's getting busy here. All of a sudden, people with dogs. Yeah. Hello, how are you?
Don't mind me, I'm just picking up some trash.
Alrighty, sir. Appreciate you're doing that. So, as I was saying, these kind of negative behaviors, yeah, being defensive, stuck, lost, distracted, resentful. I am none of these things, even though perhaps I feel a little perturbed or disturbed. But you know, I'm already over it. And I keep going with wherever my language leads me. Ordinarily, in disembodied language, people express what they believe is important and what therefore must get their attention. And their language, therefore, is very exclusive, leaving many things out, yeah, leaving many things undescribed, unaddressed, because they believe in what I call the illusion of inner language. Yeah, that is what they keep inside, presumably. They believe that they can think about it, but that's just not how language works. Oh, I gotta stretch my legs here. They believe in the illusion of inner language, which presumably informs them about what they should be paying attention to. They think it through, so to speak. In my embodied language, it just can go anywhere it wants to go. Yeah? Because I'm not impaired by inner language, by the illusion of inner language. I don't believe in inner language. There cannot be any language inside of me. It's impossible to have language inside my chest or inside my head. So my embodied language is not impaired by any false belief in internal language. Yeah. I don't believe in the inner versus the outer also. Yeah, that's another interesting aspect of embodied language, that this whole division, this whole duality between what is supposedly inside of me and outside of me, it's irrelevant because I just continue with my embodied language. And so the notion that there is an inner and an outer environment, to me, is void, is non-existent. Let's see, that's page number 8 that we're on. Number 9. I'm gonna walk a little bit to stretch my legs here. Oh. And this whole dualism, between inner and outer, or between you and me, between me and my environment, all of that is part of disembodied language. It is a product of disembodied language. Because if we have embodied language, that dualism, it just dissolves in our embodied language. It is not there. It doesn't even dissolve. It is just not there. I'm just continuing to walk by. My leg is a little... my leg is giving me the signal that I need to keep walking. So I can express verbally what you would consider my mind, my thoughts, my opinions, which to me are nothing else than overt language. So I say something, I hear it. I wrote something, this is what I wrote, and I read it. It's overt. There is no language. These words that you see on this paper, they are not inside of me. There's not a voice inside of me that I can listen to. It's just all fantasy. And so I don't have that. I don't adhere to that. That's just not what I do. I do not express my opinions. I do not express my thoughts. I simply use my language correctly, which is overtly. And I listen to myself. So the overt nature of language reveals that the only correct way of using language is when we listen to ourselves. Of course. We're out of touch. We are disconnected if we stop listening to ourselves. That's what that is. So I continue. Hey, where am I? Hello. So I read something clearly from this paper, right? That's right. And I'll let you look at this beautiful place. But I don't express words that were inside of me. Thought, no. I express words, language that is here. It's on the paper, and it's in the air. You can hear it. I can hear it. It's overt. So I express language that is always outside of me. And whatever is inside my skin, my organs, my bones, my nerve cells, that's of course, that's working. I just got a little bit of a stiff leg when I was sitting there down there below. And it's really icy cold here. I can hardly hold my phone in my hand because I don't have my gloves with me. I could have brought my gloves, but of course I didn't. And I'm not riding my bicycle today. I'm just walking here. So let me just keep walking so that I keep a little warm. So again, I'm emphasizing the importance of understanding that listening to the sound of my voice requires any listener to acknowledge that there is no language inside of us. I mean, you are not listening to me if you still believe that language exists inside of you. Do you get that? I hope you do. And I'm not explaining it to you, I'm simply saying this to myself, because this is, of course, something that I have struggled with, and anyone has struggled with this, even though we have never addressed this. So I neurally behave because my body does that. My body behaves this language, right? My nervous system, And these words, they are just only emerging when I open my mouth, when I produce sound now, okay? So I neurally behave, my overt verbal behavior, and I let you listen to how I do that with my embodied language. Yeah. Nothing else is needed for me to tell you. I don't have a message, because that's all I'm doing. Yeah. I don't have a message that you should talk in any particular way. You know, you can go on with your disembodied language if you want to do that, and you probably are. So I simply let you know that I'm having embodied language, and this is what it sounds like. And yeah, I enjoy my embodied language. Yeah, regardless of what I'm saying, and that's what anyone is doing, regardless of what they are saying. So if you would have it too, you would also just enjoy your embodied language, regardless of what you are talking about. Yeah, I know that people make it seem as if what they are saying is very important, and I can be like that too, you know, because I am just like everybody else. Yeah, also conditioned by disembodied language. But I have already, I've already captured my own disembodied language, and so that is something that I have already done many times. And so, wow, this is nice up here. Yeah. Look at that. So, I am not struggling to stay on topic or something like that, generally speaking. I'm just simply here talking with you, or talking by myself. And I don't have any particular focus or point that I want to bring across, although there is, of course, a little something like there. But no. I challenge myself. I know for a fact that when it comes down to it, look how beautiful these berries. They're so nice and red. I know for a fact that embodied language is different from disembodied language, because we are listening to ourselves while we speak in embodied language. Yeah. And I assume now, by saying we, that you are going to do it. Yeah. So people, they make it seem as if all sorts of things they're saying are very important, what they're saying, but that's because in disembodied language, everybody is constantly struggling with each other to get each other's attention. Yeah. And you can perhaps recognize in me just here talking by myself, and sometimes being, again, impacted by sounds that I hear from people who are all of a sudden walking by and coming really close to me. Then I feel like I have to step away, because I don't want to be busy with these people right now. I just want to be here by myself. So I'm not here trying to get anyone's attention, but sometimes I just have a problem keeping my own attention going on what I'm reading here. Now, okay, yeah, you can call it whatever you like, ADHD, or you can call it like whatever, attention deficit disorder. I'm just a sensitive person, and that's all that is to me. And I've dealt with many insensitive people in my life, and I did very well coping with that. Yeah, perhaps it is because of that I have developed this particular view, if you will, that is permitted by my embodied language. The view is that I'm not interested in getting anyone's attention. I'm interested in being attentive myself to my own language. I'm not interested in getting your attention, as my embodied language is only possible if I have attention for myself. Actually, it is not even attention. Yeah, people talk about attention, but attention is again something inner, right? Something, I don't know, your consciousness or your attention, your awareness, your mindfulness. No, it is not. It is not about that. Actually, it is not attention. It is language that you have for yourself. So I have my embodied language for myself. Do you get it? And your embodied language fits with your individually lived experience, and anything else, it just won't do. Yeah. I like it so much that today's writing, that it turned out to be extra long. Now I'm getting a text from my wife. Uh-oh. She asked me what is for lunch. No, I'm not gonna answer her. I'm just gonna finish this reading. I just let her wait for a little while. I don't have access to my phone, sweetheart. I am taking a pee in the bathroom. I do not have my phone on me all the time, so she can wait. So your embodied language fits with your individually lived experience, and anything else won't do. I like it so much that today's writing turned out to be extra long, because it gives me the liberty to produce extra long sentences which do not address anything in particular. Yeah. When I wrote this sentence, I was without language each time my pen stopped writing. Yeah. I am without language when I shut up. You can experience that. Yeah. That a similar thing is also happening each time I've finished reading this sentence. We used to call this silence. Yeah, then it is silent. But that is disembodied language. I rather describe it as the absence of language, which is just more realistic. When I don't speak, you can't hear anything. And if I don't write this, you cannot read anything. I cannot read anything. Mm-hmm. Absurdly, we imagine that there is language inside of us. And as a result, we fantasize a separation between our body and our mind, between who we are and our environment. And there's no such separation in my embodied language. And you can hear that too, just like I do. It is a matter of hearing it, because the sound of my voice creates the pattern of these words, which were effortlessly written. Yeah, isn't that something? We're now at page 12, okay? I'm amazed that I have already arrived at the 12th page. It went so fast. And another wonderful thing occurred in the meantime. I received a text from my work that I'm not needed tomorrow. So I'm totally happy about that. Yeah, I just received a text from my wife too. It seems like in this reading, I am constantly, I don't know, having to deal with little interferences. So this last page is making me feel like saying goodbye and see you next time. But I'm just talking with myself. And you are listening to the sound which I produce with these prepared sentences. It pleases me to not be needed. and to get an unexpected day off. What can I still say in this final sentence? It is a question that I'm going to leave unanswered. Okay, that was my writing. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. And when I stop talking, the sound is finished. There are no more words. There's no language.